Naila, why is English language important to learn?
This is because English language is an international language and is widely followed and understood by people across the world.
I want to learn this language.
To learn every language, there are some skills to develop. Follow this class to learn these skills.
Class, you are welcome to the program. We are going to continue with our lesson on Introduction to Literature. And the topic for today is Elements of Literature. But before we go into the lesson, let's have a recap of our previous lesson. Let's remind ourselves of what we did the last time we met here. We discussed meaning of literature. And what did we say literature means? We said literature has 3 different meanings. What can literature represent? One of them. Yes, please.
Literature talks about the history of a group of people.
Okay. We mentioned that literature can also refer to the history of group of what? People. Yes, Muiz?
It's anything performed to entertain.
Okay, we also say literature is anything that is performed to entertain what? People. That's good. We'll mention that literature can also refer to any write-up. Say, for example, you go to buy milk, a tin of milk. You would have realized that there are writing on that tin of milk. That write-up can be termed as literature. Good. But our concentration was only on one. That literature as a branch of language for what? Study. That is what we are interested in. And that is what we looked at the last time we met. And that is what we shall be looking at throughout our lessons. Now, we are going to watch some clips. There will be some clips that we'll be watching, and then the questions will be asked on those clips. Let's see the questions that we are going to be asked on the clips, so that when we are watching the clips, we pay attention to those important areas. Now, these are the questions based on the clips. So let's listen. We say, what is common to all the clips? So when the clips are being played, we all watch and try to find out what is common to those clips. 2, we'll be asked to identify each clip as either oral or written literature. So you pay attention to the clips very well. And then you also be required to do this. What do you say about each clip? I'll be asking you to tell me something about each clip. That's your personal comment. And then I would also be requiring you to do this. That is, what is different about the kind of expressions, that's the language, used in the clips from general speech. Generally, when we speak in a certain way. But when you watch the various clips that is going to be shown, what do you say about the kind of expression that is being used? So the clips will be displayed. The first one is by the title, The Drought of Amanfrom.
Obiara want to say and ye besua bibi afa anansesem eho se ye ka se anansesem a ye be kan say yes ye be kan bofo say anansesem be kan bofo say yes
Anansi stories.
Anansi stories. Now anansesem ya adedi a eye asem bi a ye nananom e de to ho Emma ye titimbirimu a na enkola no na mo nyina mo hia na obia fanakunya maame afanakunya papa afanakunya na o matena se fefe na nutwem a papa abetena se ana maame abetena se na waka anansesem ayeden a kire omo de ti omo yesa ne se eboa ama mofra mu omadwe den omadwum do eboa ama mofra nso omano ye den omano te obi atiase nti anansesem ye asem bi a eye de pa me ba be ka ananse story bi a kire mu sesi a na se wubehu se story no anase anansesem no ebe ko na wiye no wubehu se ananse de siwo emboa no mu nyina no na emboa no mu no hwan na netiye anase de wo good luck ene se emboa nyina tena ase e wo kuro bi ma a ye fresh e kuro no se Amanfrom na sa kuro na e wo no na ɛyɛ mmoa nko ara na ɛte kuro no mu na bɛyɛ mfie bɛyɛ 5 years anase mfie num no na nsuo ntɔ da ɛwɔ kuro no mu nti ɔhene na ɔyɛ mboa no nyinaa hene aboa ɔyɛ mboa no nyinaa hene na ɔyɛ akura aborɔfo ne sɛ mouse very good mouse na ɛyɛ mboa no nyinaa hene ana ɔmo sɛ ɔmo pɛ aboa a obetimi ato nnwom okay they wanted an animal that can sing for the rain to fall so ɔmo pɛ aboa obetimi ato nnwom na nsuo bɛyɛ den ɛbɛtɔ na ɔhene sɛ aboa obetimi ato nnwom ma nsuo ne bɛtɔ no ɔbɛkye ne japadeɛ mu nyinaa tu na ɔde half ama no so imagine sɛ ɔhene ne wɔ cars 100 ɔkyɛ mu 50 na ɔde 50 ama aboa ko no ɔwɔ ɛdan 100 a ɔkyɛ mu 2 ana mmienu na ɔde baako ama den aboa no ana ɔfrɛfrɛ mmoa no nyinaa baeɛ pɛ na ɔmafrɛ sebɔ aba wabɛgyina hɔ na wate mmeala na ɔtumi to nnwom no tumi no ɔtumi ɔgyina sɛ ɔyɛ ne ti sɛ ɔse mmeala me ɔsebɔ kora mpo a mepɛ sebɔ kora na obiale meyere mpo na mefrɛ no ɔse wɔ mbuwa me konkura mpo na mefrɛ no ɔse wɔ buwa me efiri meja chinchinga ada no dwada sɛ nsuo bɛtɔ ama me bia nom ɔse watea hey then the sun krana ewia ne started bomb so there was no sign of rainfall hey today they see here tipe and they say hey sebo park ho ko jaba bi ana sebo ko jaba bi ana mo frɛ aponche bro for your den aponche bro for your den yes aponche bro for your den goat aha ana goat be gina ho obegyina pepepe no ye say nyire nim say na aponche omote ohun say na obo bibia no obo ne kwa ana obegyina ho ana aponche gina ho saa ana so ntu nyomu ne na aponche o start to say pum no obegyina o say miara ma aponche mpo mepe aponche mpo na obiare meyere mpo na mefrɛ no osi wo mbuwa me konkura mpo na mefrɛ no osi wo mbuwa me no oyi de nim no person osu ne ra ho meyere mpo na mefrɛ no osi wo mbuwa me konkura mpo na mefrɛ no osi wo mbuwa me efiri meja chinchinga ada no juada se nsuo beto ama me bia nom osi watia kai na weda na sesa but nsuo na nto hey na ɔhene gyina odin ekura na ekura tutu ne ntama mu ɔno ɔte na konwa so aka ne na ato so just waiting say obi betu nnwom ama nsuo atɔ na wakyere japade ne mu na ɔde half aye den ama no ɛne efrɛ odwan sheep ɔno so begyina hɔ ana so odwan so tu nnwom ne ɔse mmeara m odwan mpo a mepɛ odwan mpo na obiare meyere mpo na mefrɛ no ɔse wo mbuwa me konkura mpo na mefrɛ no ɔse wo mbuwa me efiri meja chinchinga ada no juada se nsuo ɛbɛtɔ ama me bia nom ɔse watea na nsuo na tekɔ.
What kind of literature have we just watched in terms of oral or written? What will you say it is? Yes, Masrur? Oral literature. That is what he thinks. Any other idea? Why do you say it's oral literature?
Because
you all agree to the fact that it's oral literature. So let me allow Roger respond to that. Yes.
An story that our forefathers have left for us.
Okay, they left out with through the word of what? Mouth. But today, do we have stories being told through the word of mouth, or stories have been written today? How do you get stories to come to you these days? Yes, Moise?
From books.
From books. So these days, most stories are now being written. Good. Then let's watch the next clip.
How are you doing?
By the grace of God.
Very good, very good. The way you are smiling, I can see that you are looking good. Did you have some snack? Yes, that is why. That's very good, yes. So today we are going to have an interesting story to tell. And it's going to have a bit of a link with the environment that we'll find ourselves. Good. You know the environment. Good. Can somebody share with me what an environment is? Or if you want to share with me, environment. Good.
Environment are the things that surround us.
Environment are the things that surround us. Good. That's very good. So what are some of the things? Good.
Trees.
Trees. Another one. Give the mic to. Good. Good. Good.
Houses.
Very good. Good one. Is there another one? Good. Give it to her.
Water bodies.
Water bodies. Very good. Another one.
Vehicles.
Vehicles. Very good. Another one.
Human beings.
Human beings. Very good. That is what I was waiting for. Yes, human beings. Okay, let's end there so that we can go on with another question. Very good. Clap for yourself. Very good. Very good. So we are ending with human beings. Yes. So we have human beings also in the environment. Now we are going to share a story that has to do with how human beings react with the environment that they find themselves. Are you okay? We are going to share something on that, and it's going to link us to what they call Proverbs. Let me start this way. Our forefathers had an interesting way of living with their environment. They had an interesting way to live in the environment that they find themselves. And by so doing, what they were doing is to use what they call Proverbs to talk to the people in the environment. So what is a proverb? Maybe that will do.
Proverbs
If you
are
can
wise
give us.
sayings that teach moral lessons.
Very good. So as I was saying, they were interacting with the environment with Proverbs. And somebody has given us the meaning that they are wise sayings that has gotten some moral lesson. Very good. So we are going to go there and then make meaning. Find some of the proverbs that they were using with what they see in the environment. Interestingly, because we have so many things in the environment, they have proverbs that were relating to the things that you were mentioning. So we can have a proverb that's related to river, animal, trees, people, and the people, they can group them into children and adults. But for the sake of this lesson today, we are going to take the proverbs that were related to children, because I see you to be my children. Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to be happy with that?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Very good. So we are going to start with it. What I'll do is I'll give you the first proverb in English. And when I read it, we will try to share why they were using that proverb. But at the end of it all, we will conclude why perhaps they were using it. Would you say our forefathers who have been using this, or who were using it, or we are still using Proverbs these days? It's a question. Are we still using Proverbs these days, or
So we are still using them.
we are still using it?
Yeah.
Very good.
But
Then
not
it means-
frequent as the olden days.
But it's not as what? As the olden days. Very good, very good. Then we are going to share it these days so that we also learn from it. But at the end of it all, we will know that, yes, it was a good thing that they were doing to their people, and then maybe to the environment. Are you okay? Very good. I'm going to give the first one, and then we will see how we can interpret that to be. Good. The first one is, what a child wants, he buys. What a child wants, he buys. I'm using he for the two sides. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
What a child wants, he buys. Can we have an interpretation of this poem? Proverb. Yes. Let's listen to.
Sir, please, I'm trying. No.
Try. Nobody will arrest you. Yes.
Okay.
Try. Very good. Try.
What I think is that whatever a child wants to be, whether the child wants to be a teacher, a lawyer, whatever, the child, because the child is determined, he will do it by all means. That's what he wants.
Excellent. I think she has explained it. Is there anything to add to hers? Very good one. Did you get it right? Very good. Yes. These days we are seeing it. Sometimes it has to do with the type of course that you do. The child thinks that I'll do medicine or a medical doctor. And then the parents will say, no, you can't do that. Maybe perhaps they cannot afford that.
Good. So, what form of literature have we just watched in terms of being it oral or written? Yes. Your name, please?
Munira.
Munira, huh?
Oral literature.
Speak up, please.
Oral literature.
Oral literature. Why do we say it's oral literature?
It's being spoken.
It's a spoken literature, fine. But you agree it is oral or spoken literature. Good. But these days, do we still have proverbs being oral or we have proverbs being written? Or both? Yeah. Okay. Let me go to Roger. Yes?
The proverbs are being written.
We have some proverbs that are what? Being what? Written. But of course, proverb is mostly said in oral form, even though they may be written, but in oral form is the best way to transmit proverbs. Unlike stories, I can write my story and put it down and will never even say it to anyone. All that you need to do is just go and buy the book and you read. But when it comes to proverbs, the best way to transmit proverbs is through the work of what? Mouth. You have to say it for people to learn from you. Good. Can we move to the next clip? Let's watch the next clip.
Hey, God. Hey, I saw her. I saw her wide and clear. I'm afraid to face the world, afraid to face her, my best friend, because this is nearly my end. Listen, we were both in high school together and very cool. There's a birds of a feather flock together, but we're different and yet meager. Now life has paid me back in a coin I asked for. To be a woman, some say, started by 25, but I was different. At age 15, I had everything that made me see by every male band. Moving out with men, old enough to be my father was a daily meal. Parties attend on my permanent ish. And each time, I feel so curious, naive, stupid, that they always took advantage of me. I had a gut and joined some group. This group showed me to occultism. At first, I was afraid, scared and hunted, but I got through. They introduced me to drugs, and I loved it because it made me forget about school. And I told them I was afraid to abort a baby again. They said I could push something in without the fear of pregnancy. They introduced me to lesbianism. Occultism, huh? They made me kill my daddy. The very daddy who I love even through my stupidity, thought was his duty. By the time I came back to my senses and I knew I needed the grades, I gave myself to my teacher. He impregnated me and out of shame, I left school. I'm pathetic, with protruding stomach, no drug to calm my nerve, no place to call a home, and never working hard. I've turned up on the street now like a mad woman. Now, as I sit back in tears, no one should tell you how I've regretted, how I wish I could turn back time, make things right, but time, oh time. After all the unheeded advices, all I can shout is, oh, what a wasted life it has been. Thank you.
What is that? What was that? Yes, Masrur?
It was a drama.
A drama? No. That wasn't a drama. What was that? Yes, Moise?
Prose.
Sit down.
Prose.
A prose? Was it a prose? No. Yes. It was poetry. It was poetry. That was a poem that was being recited, right? And poems, are they oral or written literature?
They are written literature.
Poem? Yeah, some poems are written, but poems are mostly recited. We recite what? Poems. Good. So my other question, identify each clip as oral or what? Written, that we have done. What do you say about each clip? Yes. The first clip, that was a story, The Drought of Amanfro. Yes. What do you say about it? What comment do you have about it? You should be able to tell me something. We didn't watch the entire clip. There'll be another time where the entire clip will be displayed for us. But what do we learn from it? You say one each. Yes, Moise?
Moral lessons.
What moral lesson did you learn?
We should think before we do something.
We should think before we do something. Fine. Yes, Masrur, what do you have to say about the first clip, The Drought of Haman from the story? Yes.
It was speaking in Chi.
It was in Chi, in our local language, right? That's good. That's true. Yes, Roger?
It was about animals.
Speak to all of us.
It was about animals.
Yes, we will have a situation where animals were involved, living like human beings, having a what? A king. and looking for rain, and people coming to sing to bring the what? The rain. Yes, what of you?
There were 9 songs.
There were songs, right? Okay, there was song in the story. That's good. Now our next question. What is different about the kind of expression, that's the language, the expressions that were used in the 3 clips? The drought of Haman from, the Proverbs we heard, and then the last one, the poem that was recited. The way the expressions, the way it was used, what do you say about that? Is it like the normal words and expressions we use? I want to know. No. So what do you have to say about it?
They were speaking good language.
They were speaking good language. If you say good language, what do you have in mind? Any other? Yes.
They were speaking in parables.
They were speaking in parables. Fine. There were some of the expressions that were in parables. Good. Now let's go on to our main thing. We are going to look at the elements of literature. What we watched, there are certain things there that I'll be talking about. We said there are things that distinguish works of literature from any other forms of subjects, like science, mathematics, computing. You get me? When you pick science, you pick mathematics, you pick computing. There are things that are different, that are used in these subjects just as literature. There are certain things that are just unique for literature. We say literature is a unique area of study. So because it is a unique area of study, it has certain things very unique to it. So it therefore has some basic things that make it stand out completely from any other area of what? Study. Do you get that? Good. As it's a subject or a branch of language, a subject within language for us to study, it has certain things that is very unique about it, just as we have things that are unique about some other subject areas. We are saying that in mathematics, it is common to hear addition, sum, addends. When you are studying mathematics, you can never say you have never heard of anything called addition. You hear it several times. You hear things like sum. You hear things like multiplication. You hear things like product, factors. You hear things like expand, algebraic expressions, exponent, powers of numbers, indices. If you are studying mathematics, you hear these things, right? Yes. And I'm sure you've met a lot of them, yes. And you will still meet a lot as you study. We said these are uniquely common to areas of what? Mathematics. Anytime you hear addition, what comes to mind is that they are talking about mathematics. Anytime you hear powers of numbers, indices, what comes to mind is that they are talking about what? Mathematics. We say in the same vein, literature as an area of study has such unique attributes. So just as we have certain things very uniquely for mathematics, literature also has certain things that is just uniquely reserved for it. And what are they? We have things like characterization. Characterization is about the characters. You hear things about characters. Then we hear things on something like plot. You hear something called plot. Not a piece of plot we plant or build on, no. Then you hear things like figurative speech. That's a language. Just as some of Masuru said that they were speaking in what? In parables. Yeah, you see that the language is different. And the language, that unique language that is used in literature is known as figurative speech. So you hear things like that. And then you hear things like setting. You hear things like setting. And then we shall go through all these. Then we hear things like theme. These are things unique for what? Literature. Just uniquely reserved for literature. We say that these are what is commonly termed what? Elements of literature. So when we talk of elements of literature, we are referring to the unique things that are reserved for literature. And what are they? They are the things we have mentioned: characterization, someone will say characters, plot, figurative speech or figures of speech, setting, and what? Theme. So these unique things just reserved for literature, we call them what? Elements of literature. Good. Any question? Feel free, yes.
Please, if plot doesn't mean a piece of land where they plant they plant trees,
Yes.
then what
is it? That is what we are going to look at, not today, but in subsequent lessons. In our next lesson, we'll pick one. Probably we'll pick characterization. If you are lucky, we'll pick plot, then you get to know. But if we don't pick plot and we pick characterization, then the day we get to plot, then you get to know, okay, it's not that piece of land. We'll get there. And the clips we watch, they are all found there. We shall see how they are found in each of them. Yes, yes, Masroor?
What are the characteristics of literature?
Characteristics. What we've mentioned is one of it. The elements gives it a unique attitude. So when we want to talk about some of the characteristics of literature, we can say that literature has elements like plot, settings, characterization, theme, and other things, right? So we'll come there too. So what we just mentioned are part of the characteristics of literature. Yes, any other? So our next meeting, we shall pick one of the elements and discuss in detail, so that when you meet any work of literature, you will enjoy it, you will love it, and even want to also produce a similar one. Our viewers, we hope you enjoy the lesson. We hope to meet you next time on the same program and on the same channel, that is English Language for Junior High School on MTA Africa. The set of lessons we are having for this time is devoted for Introduction to Literature. Until we meet you again next time, we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But it is important we acknowledge those who helped us to have our lesson very successful, and that include teachers and pupils of Hallmark International School, and teachers and pupils of T.I. Ahmadiyya Senior High School, Kumasi. We say Jazakumullah Ahsana Jaza to these two schools. That is, Allah reward them with the best of rewards.